from Greg.
As we look at Psalm 59 this morning, I'll remind you, brothers and sisters, that we are to sing, not howl. Sing, not howl. Now, this is not a commentary on your psalm singing. I'm the last person who could critique anybody's singing abilities. But rather, this is a reminder from Psalm 59 of how we're to be, how we're to carry ourselves in the world. Now, the context here is, this is a psalm by David, and the context is when Saul is sending men to keep watch over him that they might kill him. That's immediate context. And we might say that the primary message of the psalm is to trust and hope in the Lord and not one's own abilities. Trust in him for protection and deliverance, as is the theme of many of the psalms. But what's interesting here, and what I want to draw out this morning or this afternoon, is the differences between the righteous and the wicked. And several contrasting features here I want to bring out. The first is, look at the deeds that the wicked do. They are done by night, whereas the praises of the righteous are in the morning. If you see in verse 6 and verse 14, it says they return at evening. And again in verse 14, they return at evening. But then in verse 16, it says that, yes, I shall joyfully sing of your loving kindness in the morning. Now, there isn't necessarily a one-to-one correspondence between nighttime and evil and daytime, early and good, but there does seem to be kind of a theme in the New Testament and the Old Testament that deeds of evil want to be hidden. They want to be hidden in the darkness. They come out at night. Evildoers, evil men come out at night. And there's something about that we think that our deeds are hidden if they can't be seen. Right? But of course, even outward things are not unseen. If our innermost thoughts are seen by the Lord, how much more so our outward deeds, even if they're done under the veil of darkness. But the righteous begins his day in the morning, a new day, praising God for all his blessings. So evil done at night, good during the day. And next, the reason for the suffering that they're going through. For the wicked, it's because of what they do. And for the righteous, it's in spite of what they do. So look in verse 12, and you'll see, on account of the sin of their mouth and the words of their lips, let them even be caught in their pride. And on account of curses and lies which they utter, destroy them in wrath, coming to verse 13. So the wicked are being justly punished for what they've said, the deeds they've done, the evil that has come from their mouth. And in contrast, the good, the righteous, are being punished in spite of it. Look in verse 3, and it says, for behold, they have set an ambush for my life. Fierce men launch an attack against me, not for my transgression, nor for my sin, O Lord. So the wicked might persecute you even in spite of your good deeds. And this is, going to be a major theme in next week's sermon. We look at 1 Peter 3, talking about how we are to live our lives before the Lord and the opportunities that will come from that. So kind of keep this in mind as we look at our sermon next week. And then finally, what actually comes out. The Lord talks about what comes out of a man depends on what's inside of him, right? And look what comes out of the wicked. In verse 6 and verse 14, it says, they howl like a dog. It says it twice. And again, in verse 14, they howl like a dog. In verse 7, behold, they belch forth with their mouth, coming with swords coming out of their mouth. The power is coming out of the words that they say. And then finally, in verse 15, they wander about for food and growl if they're not satisfied. So the wicked are growling, belching, howling. But what about the righteous? They sing a beautiful, joyful melody. So we have here the kind of animalistic, almost non-rational grunts and growls of the wicked, contrasted with the beautiful, rational, harmonious song of the righteous. So I think it's a nice reminder to think about the words. James talks a lot about the words that come out of our mouths and the power that they have to build up or to tear down. So let's be reminded from this psalm today to not growl and howl like the wicked, but rather let's sing like the righteous. So in that mindset, we'll stand now and sing about these truths in Psalm 50.